Hello, Coach Holmes here, and today we're actually going to be talking about proofs when it comes to given a parallel lines, but trying to prove angles are congruent or possibly add up to 180. So first off, I want to be able to prove that two angles are congruent to each other. Now, what we'll be given here is that line A and B are parallel to each other. Line C is parallel to D. Now, just to make sure to let y'all know, just in case I haven't told you this, but the two lines here like this, that means they're parallel to each other. So like line A is parallel to B. That's what it tells us. It tells us that they're parallel to each other. And the little arrows here tells us that the two lines are parallel to each other. Okay? Kind of like how it's kind of similar to when we have the dashes. If you have a dashed line, that tells you that they're congruent to each other. Well, if we have the arrows here, they tell us that they're parallel to each other. Okay? So, I want to be able to prove this. I want to be able to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Well, let's make a two-column proof. Okay? I want to make a two-column proof. So first off, I want to be able to use my given information. So line A is parallel to line B, as well as line C parallel to D. And of course the reason why is because it's given to us. Okay? Now, I do want to be able to prove angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, but I got to get somewhere first. I got to start somewhere. So starting at 1, notice I can't do anything with angle 1 and 3 just yet. But notice what I can do with angle 1 and 2. They're alternate interior angles. And we know if the lines are parallel to each other, then these two are congruent to each other. So we can state that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 because of alternate interior angle theorem. Not because they're a pair of alternate interior angles, but because of the theorem. Because remember, it only works if the two lines are parallel to each other. Now, notice how they correspond in the same general position. Angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 are. That they're in a general position. So we can say that angle 2 is congruent to angle 3 by corresponding theorem, angle theorem. Okay? Now notice what I have it set up right here. Angle 1 equal congruent to angle 2, angle 2 congruent to angle 3. So eventually these two are going to have to equal to each other. So by transitive property, I can say angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay? So I just proved that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And that's the end of my proof. Okay? So that's being able to prove something that two angles are congruent to each other. The next problem I want to do is to prove that two angles add up to 180. Well, here's the given information. Line L is parallel to line M. So I can say that these two are parallel to each other. Okay? Now, I do want to prove that measure angle 4 plus measure angle 6 adds up to 180. Okay? I can obviously tell that these two are not equal to each other. They're not the same angle. But they should add up to 180, given that the lines L and line M are parallel to each other. So I want to make a two-column proof again. Okay? Now, remember, I want to start with my given information. Line L is parallel to line M because it's given to us. Now, notice about measure angle 4 plus measure angle 3. This is what we call a linear pair right here. So I have a linear pair right here. And any linear pair is going to add up to 180. So by linear pair, I can state that measure angle 4 plus measure angle 3 adds up to 180. Okay? Now, notice about measure angle 3 and measure angle 4. That's a corresponding angle. So I can say that measure angle 3 equals to measure angle 6 because of corresponding angle theorem. Okay? And since I have these two being the same to each other, I can replace measure angle 3, which I wrote this one completely wrong. Excuse me for that. Since these two are the same, I can substitute measure angle 6 for measure angle 3. So therefore, measure angle 4 plus measure angle 6 adds up to 180. And that's because of substitution. So I have just proven that measure angle 4 plus measure angle 6 adds up to 180. I have just proven that. So I am done with the proof over there. So we just proven two different possibilities. We have proven a possibility of where we want to prove that the two angles are congruent to each other. And we wanted to prove that two measure angles adds up to 180. Okay? So we got to be able to recognize different pairs of angles as well as all the different properties that we have just learned. Thank you and have a good day.